Welcome to the weather forecast on the CIA TV channel. Dear friends, in today's forecast, we're going to break down what you need to know about the weather that will affect the United States over the next 7 days. A very concerning weather pattern is moving through the United States over the next few days, bringing the return of a major heat wave, more severe weather, and the potential for tropical storms and even hurricanes in the Atlantic. And we'll start with what's happening across the country today. And then we've got a major storm system moving through the Central Plains over the past 48 hours. This has brought significant severe weather to parts of the Central and Southern Plains, including Texas, Kansas, and Oklahoma, including a major tornado spotted again near Syracuse, Kansas yesterday. And this will continue over the next few days as we get a trough of low pressure back into the Rocky Mountains, which will increase the risk of severe weather.
Now, we have a major storm system moving in. This is Tropical Storm Dexter, and this tropical storm will continue to move toward Bermuda over the next 24 hours before it moves out to sea. We have two other areas of development outside of this one of which is in the far western Atlantic, just off the coast of Florida, and then we have another one in the far central Atlantic, which could eventually head toward the Lesser or Greater Antilles. And that could cause problems in the United States. If it gets close to the United States, we could see a hurricane. And here's another close-up look at Tropical Storm Dexter, which is just west of Bermuda and east of North Carolina, and it could become a hurricane over the next 24 hours. As it continues to move northeast, it's not expected to have any impact on the United States. And here's the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center for Tropical Storm Dexter. It's just going to move north of Bermuda for the next couple of days, but it's going to be a tropical storm until Tuesday night before it eventually becomes a post-tropical cyclone. So it could become a hurricane again. If it becomes a hurricane, it's going to be sometime tomorrow night or Tuesday morning if it rapidly intensifies, which I think is likely. And this could be the first hurricane of the season in the Atlantic. Right now, across the entire Atlantic basin, we're starting to see a lot of signs that we're going to be entering a very active hurricane season. But this is a lot more concerning. If it moves a little further west, we could actually see a tropical storm, maybe even a hurricane track that eventually heads toward the Greater or Lesser Antilles. So we're going to have to watch this very closely and note that there's a pretty good chance that we'll see something develop in the mid-Atlantic over the next few days. And right here, again, through Friday, there's a little bit of confidence. Again, something could develop off the coast of the Carolinas over the next few days. But right here is obviously the biggest concern. You can see all these lines and all the red showing up there. That suggests a tropical storm, maybe even a hurricane moving somewhere along the east coast of the United States or moving out to sea. So there's a couple of scenarios. We could see a hurricane moving into the Caribbean, although I think the chances of that are low. We think the average chance is that at least one hurricane moves in the direction of Florida, and then there's a higher chance that it could move out to sea. So there's a couple of scenarios that could happen. We definitely need to watch it very closely. And obviously with the weather patterns we have right now, this could cause some major issues as we head into mid to late August when hurricane season really ramps up. At sea temperatures are extremely warm right now, especially in the Gulf Coast.
Now, let's talk a little bit more about the severe weather potential over the next few days, starting today. Slight risk of severe weather. This includes northeastern Colorado back into western South Dakota, where all sorts of severe weather hazards are possible, including very large hail back near Goodland, Kansas, back into western South Dakota. There's also a risk of damaging winds, which will be scattered in nature. And there's also a chance for a few tornadoes. I wouldn't be surprised if we had a 7% risk of tornadoes in this general area later today. And as we head into Tuesday, the severe weather threat will continue across the northern plains, with a slight chance of severe weather in South and North Dakota, with the potential for damaging winds and some large hail. There's also a chance for a few low-level tornadoes, and by Wednesday, the severe weather threat will shift further east, including areas like the Midwest. We could also see some severe weather return to the high plains as that trough of low pressure continues to roll back into the Rocky Mountains. Starting with what's happening today in the Central Plains, and we can have a really active severe weather day. That's mostly happening in the late afternoon and early evening. By 6 o'clock tonight, the storms will be back in eastern Colorado and western Nebraska. These are going to be sporadic storms, and anything that can stay sporadic will have a high chance of very large hail and a few tornadoes. We had a large tornado near Syracuse, Kansas earlier today. The storms will be back in eastern Kansas around 7 to 8 tonight. That's a big concern. So things are basically going to be moving north-south or northwest-southeast. As we get into Tuesday, we'll have a little bit more storm activity in the late afternoon and evening. This is a little bit more conditional, probably in Nebraska. However, we think that in the northern plains, we'll see a more significant severe weather threat on both Tuesday and Wednesday. On Tuesday, we'll see a couple of isolated storms in the Dakotas, possibly in Wyoming. Those storms have the potential to produce very large hail, damaging winds, and a few tornadoes. On Wednesday, there's also a chance for weather to return to the Midwest, including Wisconsin, possibly even Illinois. We also want to note that Tuesday night and early Wednesday morning, we could see a cluster of storms coalesce back into South Dakota, depending on how the storms develop on Tuesday. If this happens, there's a chance of a severe mid-scale convective system, maybe even a short-term derecho. So some attention to the northern plains and the Midwest as well. And then back to the southeast, we talked about this earlier, but the chances of tropical development are low. And that's all from this moisture that's going to be moving back into Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and South Carolina over the next 48 hours. This is going to bring some heavy rainfall across all of these areas over the next couple of days. But it's all starting today and tomorrow. Be prepared for scattered showers and thunderstorms that could bring a lot of rain and also lead to flooding. Here's what we're expecting in terms of total rainfall accumulations from now until Tuesday night. Many areas in Georgia and the Florida Panhandle could see 10 to 15 inches of rain. Some localized areas could see as much as 10 to 12 inches of rain. So be prepared for some heavy rainfall in the southeast. And then we expect this pattern to continue across the Great Plains. As we head into Wednesday and Thursday, be prepared for at least some localized, if not scattered severe weather to return to parts of the Midwest as we continue to see the trough of low pressure deepen back into the Rocky Mountains, which will continue to lead to some pretty severe weather through Thursday. On Friday and Saturday, we'll continue to see severe weather across the northern plains and Midwest. The possibility of a tropical storm forming near the Carolinas remains through Saturday, and then things will become a little more uncertain next Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We will continuously update the storm situation in the next news. Please subscribe to the channel to follow. Thank you for watching the news on CIA TV channel.